Hi, I'm Norman Liss. The name of the program is The Way to Go. I invite you to join me as we explore places to go and things to do. Today we're making our regular visit to the Stamford Center for the Arts. A wonderful place, great performances, great place to go. And my guest today is Richard Pheneger, who is the Director of Communications. We'll learn all about what's the wonderful things that are taking place this year and into 1998 in Stamford. Richard, welcome back again.
Thank you.
To talk
nice
about
to be here.
This marvelous presentation area that you have. Wonderful theaters, wonderful programs going on. I have the feeling from looking over your program that you're bigger and better than you've ever been before, more ambitious. Is it true, or is it just my perception?
Oh, no, I think it's true. George Mordock, our executive director, who has been your guest before, this is his vision. We have two marvelous theaters, and he wants to keep as much going on in all of those theaters as he possibly can. In fact, just this morning we had a staff meeting, and there are some Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays during this month of December that we actually have three different things going on at exactly the same time. Something at the Palace, something at the Trugley in Rich Forum, and something in the Lenhart Studio in Rich Forum. So it's like real theater, and that's what he wants to do.
You have other theaters in addition to the Rich Forum, which is beautiful. We're going to talk a little bit about that today, and also we'll talk about the Palace Theater and what's going on there. But you have these other performance centers or stages. How does that work?
It's working exceptionally well. The Acoustic Studio in Rich Forum is actually a black box theater. And this last summer, one of our staff people who's very much into folk music got permission to go ahead and try to do something with what we call an acoustic studio. It's a folk art series. And we've done one a month, and it's been so successful that George gave him the green light to go ahead and to start scheduling throughout the rest of the year. And it gives us an opportunity to do something like that on a smaller basis, on a cabaret basis, so that it's not formal seating. Most of the time the performers come in and it's just the performer and a guitar, or maybe a guitarist and a pianist or somebody like that. But it goes back to the good old
Richard,
days.
It's hard to believe in this magnificent Rich Forum that you have a black box
That's
theater
true.
as well. Let's talk about the Rich Forum a little bit. The lobby, before you even get into the theater, the lobby itself is astounding.
It's
fabulous. Fortunately, we do have a photo of it, and there's some architectural features to it, which are quite interesting. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Okay, just as you walk up the stairs to go to the first level in the theater, and you have to go through an arch, and that's actually, it's called the Medusa Arch. It's after Eleanor Medusa. If you look all the way up at the top, you'll see the masks of tragedy and comedy on each side, and then there is a full face mask in the front. And this was Gutzon Borglum. Now, Gutzon lived in Stamford, and he also designed and was the architect for the face. Mount Rushmore.
Of course.
Yes, and he donated. This is a replica that you see in Rich Forum, but he actually donated an arch to the city of Stamford in 1923, and it stood outside of a movie house that's in the exact position where Rich Forum is right now.
Really?
So Rich Forum is a state-of-the-art theater. It only has 750 seats. It's very intimate. The stage is equivalent to most Broadway stages. So
but it's magnificent.
Yes.
You walk into that place and you feel as if you're in state-of-the-art design. And I'm really surprised that the theater is only 750
seats. It's half the seating capacity that we have at the Palace.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Does that lend itself to a certain type of performance as opposed to the...
Well, ironically enough, we're doing a lot of the theater in there. We just had Smokey Joe's Cafe that's still running on Broadway. That one we took to the Palace, but we opened with Elsinore that came from England, and then we did Picasso at the Lopanagio, which was the opening production of the national tour. That was also at the Forum.
I don't want to leave the Forum until we talk a little bit about what's inside. I mean, you go inside the theater, and again, we can show our viewers what it looks like.
Oh, sure.
You go inside the theater, and it's a beautiful space.
The last row, or the last seat in the last row of the top balcony is no further than 60 feet from the stage. So it's, as I said, 750 seats. It's very intimate. It's a jewel and a gem of a theater. When people come in and they walk out on that stage, it's like, being in somebody's living room. They feel that they're that comfortable and that intimate.
And certainly from the audience's viewpoint, you feel as if you're in a really great place.
Without a doubt. Yes, it's wonderful.
I was really surprised when I saw in your brochure that you have almost 100 performances in your season, which basically has been running from when? From September?
Usually from September to maybe the middle of June.
The middle of June.
Yes. But now that is also expanding because of the success that we had with the acoustic studio, and George also has, this is George Mordock again, also has some ideas of some summer programming that he would like to do. So it could very well be that it'll be up to 125, 130 different events that we will have on a year-round basis. And we have a number of things that are coming in for the holiday that
let's
like
talk about those
know.
first. Let's talk about what's going on. Why don't you start off with...
Well, let me tell you, one of the things that we had, we actually started our holiday season just before Thanksgiving, to be very truthful, and we had an ice skating rink on the stage of the Palace Theater. Yes, we just expanded the Palace Theater stage, the depth anyhow, from 20 feet to 43 feet. And then one of the first things that we did was create an ice rink, and this was phenomenal to watch.
Is that a portable rink that they bring
It's a portable rink, but it's real ice. You can't believe how many people would call and ask the box office, "Are you sure this is real ice?" And it is, because we had to get 10,000 pounds of crushed ice. The crew came in with the company that did this. It was Sleeping Beauty on Ice that we did. It was skaters from the St. Petersburg State Ice Ballet. They put the refrigeration units down on the floor. It was 5 inches deep. Then they spread the crushed ice over it, and for a 24-hour period prior to the time that the skaters actually went on stage, we had to have 2 of our crew people go in and hose it down every 20 minutes. No Zambonis or anything like that, but they just had to keep watering it down and building it up so that it got a nice smooth surface. And then by the time we were ready to do the show, it was just fabulous, and 25 skaters were on our stage.
Unbelievable.
And one performance only. And then they came in right after that, cleaned the whole thing up, and took it to the next place. And then we had Greg Allman on stage the very next night.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that another Madison Square Garden where they do basketball
I think
and
we're going to become something like that. Yes. Right.
Well, let's get on to the holiday season, Vienna Boys Choir.
Yes. Traditional for us to have the Vienna Boys Choir at least every 2 years. And they do a little bit of traditional Christmas music and some Viennese music. They're going to do a little one-act operetta, which they always do, and sometimes they're in costume. It just shows the versatility. And this is their 500th anniversary. They've been doing this for 500 years. Those kids are 500 years old, yes. But they have such a wonderful educational program. It isn't just music. They actually take classes and what have you. And there are actually 2 companies of the Vienna Choir Boys that tour throughout the world, and we're very fortunate to have it back in this. Yes.
You've been doing that now?
We do it at least every other year, and it's, I know, for the last 10 years.
Yeah. Now, talk about 10 years. When actually did the Art Center open? It's not.
Well, I used to work at the American Shakespeare Theater in Stratford. I still live in Stratford, Connecticut. And another gentleman there was on our staff, and he was very much involved with Connecticut Grand Opera. And there was the Palace Theater that was vacant in Stamford. A couple of times people threatened to tear it down, and other people came to its rescue. And Connecticut Grand Opera in 1982 was actually the one that decided that they were going to do something with it. So in 1982, they actually renovated the theater and put it back in exactly the same shape that it was. And the first season that we had was 1983. The things that we did then from 83 to 85 were just fantastic. And so that was one of the things, that's what we're looking for, we do things like the Nutcracker. We do a lot of different stage productions in there. We have Harry Belafonte coming in. Mm-hmm. We have Tom Jones, Carrot Top. Now, this is the other thing. I mean, do you know who Carrot Top is?
Male comic?
Yes. Oh, well, you do? See, I didn't know. This is one of the things that George always tells us. He'll go around and say, we have an opportunity to bring Carrot Top in. What do you think? And so he'll just go right down the hall and talk to each one of us in our offices and all this. I thought he was a musician. I didn't know who he was. But this is not my generation, and that's one of the things that George wants to do, because in the performing arts, and I think that you talk with anybody in the performing arts, and you'll find that the audiences for the live performing arts are dwindling.
Sure.
We're literally dying away.
We know that, yeah.
And so this is George's idea. If we get somebody that the young people are going to come to, then they're going to come in and they're going to have a fantastic experience in either Rich Forum or the Palace Theatre in Stamford. If they enjoy it once, you can almost guarantee that they're going to come back for something else.
But when you say the audience is dying away, there's certainly the traditional things. Now, you mentioned Nutcracker.
Oh, sure.
Nutcracker at the holiday season is
that's the best family thing that we do, because they come with the family. If there is somebody in the family who is dancing, we know that whole family's going to come, and it's from babes in arms to adults and grandparents and great uncles and great aunts and what have you.
It's traditional, and it's great, and it's wonderful.
Right.
When is Nutcracker?
It actually opens with us on the 13th and 14th, and then the 20th and the 21st. And this is one of the things that we have created, again, this is George, is this arts partnership. George feels that, yes, we have the facility, we have the venue, we don't always have the good ideas, or we need help in coming up with different things and what have you. So George has decided that if we go into this arts partnership, it's working individually with people to do as much as we possibly can. So this is a co-production with Stamford City Ballet, a co-production with the Stamford Symphony, and we have principal dancers from New York City Ballet and one from the American Ballet Theatre. So it's all of this that comes together. And if we have two major organizations that are putting money into it, gives you a bigger bottom line.
This is new, though, this partnership. It's a new concept.
We've done it with Connecticut Grand Opera. We just did last month we did a production of La Boheme that was fabulous. We did it 2 performances in Stamford and 1 performance in Bridgeport. And it was just unbelievable. It's the first time that there was something on an arts partnership basis that was produced in the Palace Theatre with this new stage, and we had so much depth.
There's so much you're doing. I want to get into some more of this, but first I do want to remind our viewers that we're talking about the Stamford Center for the Arts in Stamford. Very convenient location for people in Westchester. It's 30 minutes or 25 minutes from White Plains, and the parking is very, very adequate, more than adequate. There's wonderful parking nearby, and it's right off the Connecticut Turnpike. It's very easy to get to off exit 8. I know I go there often. Very easy to get to. And my guest today is Richard Pheneger, who is the Director of Communications for the Stamford Center for the Arts. You're also doing some performances that are traveling shows, like West Side Story, for example.
Right.
And West Side Story is a classic. Mm-hmm. Now, is this a national company? This
is the national company that is out.
I didn't know it was still playing in it.
Oh, yes. And can you believe this first was on Broadway in 1954? Yes, and it's still just as poignant and popular as ever. And
it's playing also at the Westchester Broadway Theatre in their own production of it. And I tell you, I saw that, and the show has held up. It is so beautiful. It is so great. It's really, as far as I'm concerned, probably the best musical that ever was done.
Oh, I think so. I really do. And we're very fortunate. We only have it for 3 performances. Mm-hmm. We have it between Christmas and New Year's, but we're very excited about that aspect of it. And we're also doing another, the arts partnership thing that we were talking about. New England Lyric Operetta has performed at our theater before, but they're doing a thing this year that we're calling Bah Humbug, a Dickens of A Christmas Carol with Gilbert and Sullivan. And what happened is, this is very interesting because NELO, New England Lyric Operetta, decided that they wanted to do something like this, to make a traditional holiday presentation. But they couldn't find a script Dickens and Gilbert and Sullivan were not necessarily contemporaries, but their lives sort of passed at one time or another. And they actually got on, and this will show you the power of the internet. They got on the internet worldwide and said, does anybody have any kind of a script that would work for Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol that we could intersperse music of Gilbert and Sullivan? And they were inundated with scripts, and they found one that was done in England, and they got permission from the creators in England to make their own adaptation. So it's basically the Dickens Christmas Carol story, and it's the music of Gilbert and basically the lyrics of Sullivan, but the lyrics have been adapted or modified a little bit to fit the story of Scrooge and Cratchit and Fezziwig and all the other people.
That's amazing.
So the music is going to sound familiar. It'll just be different lyrics for them. But we're doing that we like to offer as much of a variety to our audience as we possibly can. Yes, we do the Nutcracker. Yes, we do Bah Humbug. We're also doing a radio adaptation of It's a Wonderful Life. The audience is invited to come in. Yes, it's an adaptation of the Frank Capra film that Jimmy Stewart played George Bailey in. And we did this last year, and it was so successful. It's inviting an audience. We do this in the Little Black Box Theater, the Lenhart Studio. It's cabaret seating, but the audience comes in as if they're going to be sitting there witnessing a radio production. It takes place in 1946, and you remember the good old radio days where they actually did have audiences that came in and watched. And there are 7 actors and actresses who are going to play 50 different roles, and they're dressed in the costume of the 40s, and they may be one voice one time, and then they may come back as another character with another voice the next time, still in the same clothes. There will be an organist who will, do all the ripples of the music and live sound effects.
Is there a TV show that's doing that right now, and that's showing how the radio was done in those days?
Isn't it When? W-E-N-N?
Yes,
that's right. So that's what it's going to be, but it's tremendously popular for us last year, and we just decided that we're going to make it an annual event. So we actually have 3 different holiday things going on during most of December.
And the rest of the year, the caliber of the people that you're bringing in, Bill Cosby.
2 performances.
Stiller and Mira.
Now, this is another interesting thing. In the theater season last year, we thought that we were online to have them in Afterplay, which is a play that Ann Mira wrote, that Jerry actually went into later on, and then they were going to tour with it. And something happened to the national tour, so we lost out on that because that's when we were going to do it. Yes. They decided to go to the summer stock tour, and a number of summer theaters did have it. And George actually talked with Ann and Jerry and told them how disappointed our audience was, because a lot of people bought subscriptions based on the fact that they were going to see Stiller and Mira in Afterplay.
They're an amazing
they really are.
We talk about down-to-earth people. We talk about George and how he's so real with the people.
Sure.
I was at a play once, and Stiller and Mira were in the audience, and as they were leaving, this woman rushed up to them and says, "Please don't leave. My husband is in the bathroom, and he would be terrible if he didn't say hello to you." And they said, "Oh, sure, we'll stay there."
Well, at least you didn't try to take him into the bathroom to meet him there. That's good.
Of course, they are well known for their comedy.
Yes.
I didn't know they were still doing their act together.
Well, they resurrected every once in a while, and because of George's concern and what our subscribers were not going to be able to see, they said that they would come up and do their cabaret act. So we have that in May.
That's to me, that's almost a rare opportunity.
It is. I mean, and how many performers would do that? Oh, tough luck. Go on, get us next time or whatever. And they were so concerned that they said, yes, we'll do something.
They've been so successful so many years, and of course
Jerry on Seinfeld,
and created this lovable, hateful character.
Yes, no.
Really great. Who else you got coming?
Oh, let me see. Isaac Stern.
Yes.
This is the other thing. We try to do as much of a balance as we possibly can. It's not all music. It's just not all comedy. It's a little bit of everything. We have the Boys Choir of Harlem coming in. Then 2 days later, we have the Dance Theater of Harlem coming in. We're doing a thing with Danny Glover called... I can't remember what it's called, but he plays Langston Hughes. And there's another gentleman who plays Martin Luther King Jr. We do a lot of stuff for Black History Month during the month of February, and we try to make as much free stuff as we possibly can just to get the people to come in, because Rich Forum is so new. looks palatial, as you know, and there are some people who are a little standoffish. So, oh, maybe I couldn't afford to go to that theater or whatever. But if we do some things that are free and they get in there and see how really nice it is once they get in, then they'll pay $15 or $20 for something else later on, and then whatever else it might be. So it's just a matter. We always operate on the premise that if we can get them in either the Palace Theater or Rich Forum once, if they've never been there, then they're hooked, because seeing something live on stage at the time that it's happening is just unbelievable.
Palace Theater is going through, as we've talked about in the past, but it's now real that it's growing, it's enlarging.
Oh, definitely.
What's the status of that right now?
Well, we have gone through 2 phases of a 3-phase renovation. The first 2 are done. The second one that was just completed, that we just had the first production on, well, the first production actually was Smokey Joe's Cafe that you came to see.
Yes.
That was a national company. The first local production was La Boheme that I was talking about. But for a seating capacity of 1,580 and only having a stage depth of 20 feet, that left a lot to be desired for a lot of the companies that would come in. When we had the Alvin Ailey American Dance Company there 2 years ago, their specs actually said they needed a depth of 35 feet. Well, we didn't have it, but they came anyhow. So everything was scrunched in depth-wise. Now we have more than they need. So we've got all of this space that we have. When the tree grows in the Nutcracker, it's just splendorous to see this tree grow. And when they go off into the sleigh at the end of the show, I mean, they've got all this depth to actually go into now. So that aspect is opening up a lot more. We'll be able to bring in bigger shows than we've ever brought in before as far as the national tours. One of the things that I think is down the line as far as George is concerned, to eventually produce at least one major production on our own and see if it will go someplace else. So this will give us an opportunity to do that.
When you come back next time, we're going to talk about that
as
being a real thing.
Sure.
Because knowing George Murdoch, I know that if he has an idea, it's going to happen.
Without a doubt. He's been a real gentleman to work with, and allowing us to have the input that we do, that makes us feel better working with him and for him.
One of the things that I want to be sure to do before we run out of time is to give the telephone number that people can call in order to get more information, copies of the brochure, and anything else. So let's give that number now.
Okay, it's 203-325-4466. And any of the things that we've talked about during this program, I haven't given specific dates. We've just talked about the highlights and everything. Just call that number. In the box office, there are operators there, and they will walk you right through everything.
And
we have brochures. We've got everything, and they'll just put you on the mailing list.
Information in there.
Yes.
I do notice that things do change, however, because you do add on things that you didn't have before. Right. One of the things that you have had before is Wienerville.
Yeah,
now,
I heard you were wienerized.
I was wienerized on this program, and so I can certainly vouch for the effectiveness. I can't promise to be on your stage, however, to be wienerized.
Well, okay.
But from what Mark Wiener tells me, he takes people out of the audience and he wienerizes them.
He is so. We had him the season before last, and we're doing him in 2 shows this year. And I have to tell you, you talk about Stiller and Mira and how accommodating they are for their audience. Well, there were a lot of kids who wanted to get up to wienerized. He just wasn't able to do it. So when the show was over, he said, "I'll be out in the lobby and I'll sign autographs." And you've been in the Palace before, so you know where the backstage door is. It's way on the far left side, and kids and their families were lined up all the way out to the back, going into the lobby, and he was in the outer lobby. And it took him almost an hour and 15 minutes, but he stayed there and signed or autographed whatever the kids had most of the time it was programmed.
He's an amazing,
so accommodating,
funny man, and a very, very funny man, and so talented, and family man, 3 children.
Oh, it's Mark Wiener that we're talking about. That's the reason why it's called Wienerville.
Of course, that. How some of the other people that you've got? You're doing Stomp and Harry Belafonte, and
Stomp is coming back the second time. We had him 2 seasons ago, and they they brought down the house. You think, what can somebody do with percussion that hasn't already been done? And boy, you see the show, and there are just a wide variety of things yet to be done.
You don't have to go into Manhattan to see it, which is the great part of it.
I can't remember if I've ever mentioned this when I've done the show with you before, and I'm not denigrating this in any way, but we're making inroads and getting people from Westchester to come to our theater. It's like going backwards rather than forward. They always, for some reason, think that they have to go into New York. We can give you the exact same thing that you get in New York, but people people from Westchester, it's almost like they feel they have to have a passport to come into Connecticut, and we're trying to change that and doing shows like this, and you giving us
Well,
an
I'll make a
opportunity.
deal with you.
Yes.
If anybody thinks they need a passport, I would be very happy to stamp that
Oh,
visa
all
for
right.
them.
That's what
And
we'll do
allow
then.
them to do that without any difficulty.
But it is so easy. As I said, I got here in 25 minutes from Stamford. We have lots of parking. We have lots of restaurants. We're right across the street from the big shopping mall in town if you want to come a little early and do some shopping or whatever.
It's right in downtown
And
Stamford.
during the holiday season, it's glorious. We just had one of the most fantastic parades, like third or fourth only to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. We had 20 of the balloons that are usually in the Thanksgiving Day Parade that the downtown Stamford services put together. And I do want to credit the Southern New England Telephone has been very good to Stamford Center for the Arts, and they have backed us in this entire holiday series that we're doing, beginning with Judy Collins all the way through to West Side Story. And
you have some tremendous community support,
we do,
don't you?
yes.
And,
It's just-
and
it's
that's the
marvelous.
wonderful part about it.
Right.
I personally think that it's easier to get to Stamford than to some of the parts of Westchester. Now, there's something about the border, though, and crossing over into another state that seems to make it seem further.
Sure.
But it's not.
Right.
But it's not further.
And I don't want our audience to think that we're in competition with SUNY Purchase, because we know they do a wonderful job there. And sometimes we do have the same things. But that's just giving people more of an opportunity to see it. If you can't see it in Stamford, you go to SUNY Purchase. If you can't see it at SUNY Purchase, come to Stamford and see it.
You know, this program is, as I've said over and over, is about places to go and things to do. There's plenty to do and plenty of places to go. And that's what's so nice about being here and being able to access all of that. And I'm
right in the middle of it.
so glad that you came here and brought us
you.
up to date on what's happening in Stamford. It's a wonderful place. I'm sure delighted that you come. And, of course, you're welcome to come back again.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
I look forward to it.
We've been talking today about the Stamford Center for the Arts. It's a wonderful program, great stars, great performance, great setting, great theaters. If you get the feeling that I like it, you're right. I'm Norman Liss. The name of this program is The Way to Go. And until next week at this time, enjoy yourself.